If I can save somebody else and I can help somebody else, then I don't have to think about what's wrong with me. And all you're doing is pushing and pushing and pushing, because ultimately you will have to deal with what's wrong with you. If you got to the point where you realize that you have a problem, then tap yourself in the shoulder, because that's a huge step. The way I see it is life is a puzzle. And it's not easy because we all want everything. Like, gosh, I'd love to own my own house. So many things I would love to have. Ultimately, like, would that make me happier? I'm not sure. I see very wealthy people all the time. And a lot of them are not very happy people. They're broken people.
Yeah.
Modeling for a really long time brought a lot of insecurity up.
Physically?
Like, yeah. It was not that long ago that I was actually able to look at myself in the mirror and say, like, you're a beautiful girl, like, you're a beautiful person. That took me years, even though I modeled for 20 years, because, you know, you're being judged.
Would they come up and be like, you need to work a little bit on this part of your body?
This one time in Spain, I'm fluent in Spanish, and I just moved there and no one really knew me still. I remember walking with my portfolio, and I showed them my portfolio, and this woman looks at this guy and just goes, oh no, this girl, like, forget it. In Spanish, like, forget it. Like, what's wrong with her nose? Everything inside of me wanted to be like, I speak your language.
Right.
People don't think of the consequences of their words. I finally found myself and realized who I truly am.
Right.
In the past, maybe 2 years. I believe today that you get these people if that's what you believe about yourself.
Power of attraction.
Yeah.
The number one reason with this show is to reveal that other part, not the picture. What happens before and after the picture? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, of course.
And that's
but
what
most people won't tell you that.
They won't tell you.
Most people don't want to share. You know, in the moment when those things happen, it's tough. You want to blow out and all that stuff. But when you think about it, maybe a year later, who knows, however long after, literally for me, like, everything that's happened made me who I am today, and I'm super grateful. I'm not angry to the people that have hurt me, because ultimately I needed that to give me that jolt, kind of like, okay, it's time for you to wake up. Everything happens for a reason, and until you understand why those things are happening and you make a change, they're gonna keep happening.
Definitely, if you don't change the pattern.
Absolutely. And not only to change your ways, to also change how you see yourself. Because that's the thing. I also believe that certain things that happen to you in life, sometimes it's not always for you to learn. Sometimes it's for the other person. It could still hurt you, but sometimes you're like the catalyst to teach somebody else a lesson. We're all here to learn. We're all learning. Yeah, the people I work with have a lot of money, but the issues are still the same. They still get a broken heart. We're, let's say, normal people.
Right.
You still have people judging you. Your friends are judging you, your parents are judging you, your brother and sisters are judging you, but it's different. Celebrities have that plus the rest of the world. And the reason people judge is because it's so much easier to look at somebody else's problems than to look at your own. It's easier to be like, hey, let me give you advice of what you should do.
Right.
I'm fucked up, but let me focus on yours. And I loved it. I loved having people coming over and telling me their problems, and if I could save them and help them. But that was to avoid my own issues. FYI, I've never used a Japanese sweet potato, so let's see how this works. Stick it in there. There we go. Okay, so let's get the salmon going. This is the most beautiful piece of salmon I've ever seen. It's huge. For me, my home, it's my temple. It's my life. Not that many people are allowed to come in this house. When I moved here, I was crying every day.
You meet a lot of people, but
there's very little quality people.
Exactly.
Los Angeles is very superficial, but with time, you end up meeting also really good people. It just takes a little bit more time because of the fact that you drive everywhere. You very rarely have contact with people. If you live in New York or in Europe, it's easier to meet people. I never thought I was smart enough or interesting enough that people would want to hang out with me. if it wasn't because of the way I looked. Right. It's crazy. Holy moly, like, and I know a lot of young girls feel like that. Just look at Instagram and you have all these young girls taking selfies and they need to make sure how many people liked it, how many people think I'm pretty. This new generation is in for a ride because it's a whole different level than what we had to deal with. There was scientific proof Facebook was completely linked with depression. I had to stop Facebook for a very long time. I was getting depressed because everyone's life seemed so much better than mine. I had just come out of a breakup and I was devastated, and I would go on Facebook and to kind of empty my head, and it did the opposite because everyone seemed they were having a lovely time on a holiday somewhere with their families and their kids and their husband, and 5 seconds after she's crying because she just got into a fight with her husband or her kid told her, I hate you. You know, like, you don't think about those things. You just see what you see in that moment. And you want to open the oven for me? Put this in there. I like change. I like, you know, I get bored of stuff. I would have chocolate like every single day.
Really?
That's my snack. It's like chocolate, chocolate. Oh, is the girl that sells bone broth here? Yeah, right there. Hi.
Good morning, how are you guys?
Hi.
Very good, how are you?
I drink bone broth.
Super good for your skin.
Yeah,
your skin and nails, and your insides.
You just add it to everything, right?
No,
You can just drink it as
I
is.
drink it.
Oh, you drink it?
Yeah.
Like out of a coffee mug. It's so
I drink it in the morning.
Oh my god, this looks amazing.
Okay, are we digging in?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Let's try it.
I'm curious. Okay, that's pretty good. Oh my god, it's so good. You have to learn to protect yourself. People put the word selfish as a bad thing, but actually selfish is a good thing until you change yourself on how you see yourself and what you allow in your life. You're gonna keep getting these people. You're gonna keep repeating that circle. It's like a vicious circle. You're gonna keep turning in circles and there's no out.
Think of yourself as a bucket, and if there's a hole in the bucket, the water's always
It's just gonna keep going.
It's gonna keep going out.
To clear your mind, you also have to clear your body. It's like both go together. Sometimes you have to work on your mind, but you also have to work on your body and clean and get rid of all the bad stuff you have in there, because it goes together. You start noticing those patterns of things that you do and you're like, Jesus, like I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm doing it because I love it. But actually it's more an addiction than anything else.
When you come across a person at work, they're like keep talking to you, they keep bothering you.
Back in the day, I would open myself up and be like, oh my God, this person has an issue. I can help her. Like, come to me.
Oh, you would actually try to help
Oh
that
my God,
person.
yes. I would be like, I'm all over this. I call them vampires, energy vampires.
Oh, like
they're all
leashes.
just, they don't want to be fixed. They don't care. They're happy to be negative and in a bad place, but they just need this like energy to feed. It was mostly insecurity. Like I was completely insecure, like have no faith in myself. Most of the stuff comes back to your childhood anyways. Not that your parents do it in a way to hurt you. They just show you and give you what they know. So you take that information and then you grow as an adult believing that you don't deserve more than this or that, or, you know, like all those beliefs that are not true. You don't want to ask yourself too many questions. Like I used to ask myself, okay, so I'm doing this and then what's the next step? Like what am I going to do next? It's always good to have plans of where you would like to be, but keeping it wide. You spend your day to day just thinking and worrying about where am I going to be tomorrow? Am I going to have enough money? And then tomorrow you walk out and I don't know, you get up and have a heart attack or get hit by a bus. Or I don't know.
A lot of people have that fear.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of it ingrained in the Swedish culture of like, it's so important to have a steady job.
And have a plan.
And they don't even like care what job it is, as long as you have that steady job.
I was tired of doing something that was just about the way I looked. No one cared about what I had to say. No one cared about like my issues. I don't even have a high school diploma. So I was like, what am I gonna do? And I always like makeup. I just taught myself from all these years of modeling, and then I went into makeup. Getting an agent is not easy, especially in Hollywood. I was lucky enough to know all beautiful girls. So I used all my girlfriends. And then I knew a lot of photographers, so I used all those connections to build a portfolio. After that, I just went to see an agent and showed them what I could do. They got really excited, but they're like, well, you don't really have celebrities. You know, this is LA. I never gave up. I came back home and just, of course, shed my tears, but just kept going. And a really good friend of mine, Brian Bowen Smith, who's one of the biggest photographers today, was shooting Colin Farrell, and he didn't have a groomer. So he called me and he was like, hey, do you want to shoot Colin Farrell? I had never done makeup on men before. I only done women.
So your first
It was my
man-
my first big job was a male client.
And your first male client was a celebrity.
So I was freaking out. Once I did that, then getting an agent was very easy.
Right.
And then the ball just kept,
That's
you
funny.
know.
Yeah. It's like you get at one thing, and then it just builds and builds and builds.
Yeah. The way I see it is life is a puzzle. And it's not easy because we all want everything like, gosh, I'd love to own my own house. So many things I would love to have. Ultimately, like, would that make me happier? I'm not sure. I see very wealthy people all the time. And a lot of them are not very happy people. They're broken people.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. Like, all this material, it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
I always say that to my son. It's like a fire, right? If you try to make a fire and you keep putting more wood and more wood and more wood, the fire is gonna die because there's no air. The more pressure you put on something of like, I want this, I want this, I want this, there's no air for it. There's no air for it to become real. If I can help, truly help one girl to make her not go through what I went through, there's nothing more beautiful than that to help people that really need it. Kids, for me, like, kids is the most important part. Because I realized that my issues came from my childhood. So if I can help other kids not wait until they're 40 to realize, hey, I'm actually pretty cool. Ultimately, the goal is this, what you do, what a lot of people do is beautiful because ultimately maybe this one girl will watch your video and realize I'm not alone. I think everyone has their issues, and I think if we could find a way to just be kinder to one another, it would just make everything so much easier for everyone. Thank you. Thanks, honey.
I just want to talk about this bone broth for a little bit.
Okay,
The
let's talk
chicken.
about this.
Oh my god.
She cannot drink this. She had to smell it first, which is a big mistake. If you ever drink, that's chicken bone broth, do not smell it first. Just drink it. It's
Oh my
so
God.
good for you. It will make you stay young and beautiful. You're supposed to actually drink it in the morning on an empty stomach, which I did for a really long time, but you couldn't
But
handle it.
don't smell it. Don't. Oh my god.
You see, the secret about the bone broth is that if you let it cool down too much, then it's like, if you thought it was gross before,
no.
if you drink it now, you'd pass out. It's gonna make me look like I'm 20 again.